Welcome to the Co-Parenting Conversations podcast, brought to you by the Center for Divorce Education. With renowned psychologist Dr. Donald Gordon, we will delve into the complex world of co-parenting during and after divorce and separation. Join us as we explore some of the emotional, legal, and practical aspects of parental breakups, helping you navigate this transformative journey with wisdom and guidance. Whether you're currently going through a divorce, contemplating separation, or supporting a loved one in their journey, the Center for Divorce Education is here to empower you with knowledge and offer you a roadmap towards a brighter future. The information presented in this podcast is intended for educational purposes only. The presentation of this material is not intended to constitute mental health therapy or to diagnose mental health disorders. The presentation of this material is not intended to constitute legal advice. Participants are encouraged to discuss specific legal questions with a licensed attorney of their choice.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Co-Parenting Conversations podcast by the Center for Divorce Education. We provide online parenting education for parents going through divorce or separation. And my name is Jaimie, and today I'm here with Dr. Donald Gordon, our executive director and founder of the company. And today we will be introducing you to his background and inspiration behind starting the company. So, Dr. Don, why don't you tell us a little bit more about you and your experience and credentials?
I'm a father of 2, grandfather of 2. I got my doctorate in psychology and with an emphasis on child clinical psychology and family psychology. And I spent my career being a professor of psychology at Emory University and Ohio University. Throughout that time, I was training doctoral students to work with children and families and to help kids with behavior problems. And then I started focusing on families of divorce and training doctoral students to work with those families. I also trained students in doing family therapy with families of delinquents. And that led me into the current work with divorcing parents.
And we do know that you're considered one of the, top experts in the field of parents and children. What made you start the Center for Divorce Education and Parenting classes?
Well, when I was doing my work with delinquents and their families, we were doing home-based family therapy. I noticed that almost all of these families, the biological father wasn't present. They had gone through a divorce or separation, and the father wasn't having any regular contact with the kids, and especially teen boys. That was really harmful. And sometimes the mom would have a live-in boyfriend. Sometimes she'd be remarried with a stepfather, but there was just not much contact with the biological father. So I did some reading and the research literature, and it looked like a big risk factor for delinquency was the child not having contact with one of their parents, usually the father. I figure, okay, how could we keep fathers involved after the parents separate? I wasn't optimistic that I could keep people married or in a relationship. I'd gone through 2 divorces, and I wasn't really optimistic that it could be easily done. And so I figured, okay, let's figure out a way to keep both parents involved with the kids after they separate. And that would really reduce kids' risk for problems, including delinquency. Then around that same time, I went through a really difficult divorce myself. And it was a really long-term, high-conflict divorce. So I wanted to have shared parenting or joint custody, and the judge didn't believe in that. And in those days, the judges almost automatically gave custody to the mom, regardless of the competence of each parent. And that really offended me. And I had a colleague, Jack Arbuthnot, who was also working with me in the area of delinquency. And he went through a divorce around the same time, too. But his ex-wife agreed to joint custody, and they really cooperated very well, and they shared their child together without conflict. And I was really impressed with that. And so he and I talked together about how do we get parents to have the kind of divorce he had and not have the kind of divorce I had. And that's when we decided we would develop a divorce education program to teach parents about how to have a divorce that didn't harm the children. That's what caused us to develop this program. At the time we developed it, there was virtually no programs like this in the country. This is around 1990, 1991. And it just was just not done. And then we started advertising this program. We focused on the ways that parents put their children in the middle of their conflict without being aware of it, because our research had shown that that was really harmful for kids, and that it was the most harmful aspect of divorce, is being put in the middle of the parents' conflict, and where the child have to choose which parent to be loyal to, and just tore them apart. So we focused the course material like a laser on that issue. And we filmed scenes of parents putting the kids in the middle. And then we filmed scenes of parents using skills to not do that. So that was our idea, to try to focus closely on the most harmful aspects of divorce. And we did a lot of video showing those scenes. And then after a while that spread. And by the late 1990s, most courts in the country were requiring parents to get co-parent education.
Wow.
That idea took off with judges. They saw the benefit of parents getting education.
Right. And especially with video scenes of real life type situations that most parents get stuck in.
Yes.
Would you say after you went through your divorce that the courts are better about joint custody or having fathers involved now?
Oh, definitely. There's been a big change. It's still not equal. In many courts, there's still a preference for maternal custody, but it's changed dramatically, particularly as there are more younger judges, more women judges. They seem to be more open to both parents being involved with their children. And, gender roles have changed over the last 20 years.
Right.
And you have a lot more men going into a relationship expecting to be heavily involved with parenting.
Yeah.
And the mothers are looking for men who will be involved with parenting. So that's helped change that too.
Some states require parent education and others don't, right? So it does differ based on state as far as the court systems and how all of that works too, right?
Yes. And it's frustrating to see large states like New York and California that when you get a divorce, you're not required to do co-parent education. Some individual judges may require that, but statewide, they're not doing it. So it's a real pity, because divorce is the second most stressful life event that people go through. And to go through that without any guidance doesn't make a lot of sense to me. People really need guidance going through something that's that stressful. Because for most people, this is the first time they've gotten a divorce and they don't know how to deal with it. And they're kind of freaked out. They're in a fight or flight mode, and they're not showing their best, especially in front of their children. And they can be taught how to do that, how to get themselves out of fight or flight mode, and how to use skills to resolve their problems. They learn to do that. But without education, they're probably not going to learn to do that.
Right. Would you say, when you developed the program, did you expect that we would have, what are we at, about 5,000 parents a month now taking the program?
I think initially we saw it grow. I actually expected it would be greater, because there's not very many programs out there that teach skills and do it in a way with really high quality video that has an emotional impact and is personally relevant. So they're mostly just giving parents information. For those of you who've gone to an interesting talk or lecture with interesting information, a week or so later, you don't remember much of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if they're not remembering the information, what's the point? So we need to give them new skills that they incorporate into their daily lives that change their behavior. And that's what benefits parents and kids, not just giving them information. So I was expecting that since our program is doing a really good job of teaching skills, that it would be widely used, but it is not, as widely used as I think it should be.
Right. And that also has, a little bit to do with those court systems you were talking about earlier, and requiring parent education or not.
Right.
Obviously, yes, the other programs that may not benefit parents quite as much too. The Children in Between Online program also has won awards. Yes,
we've gotten Telly Awards for educational video and W3 Awards for animation and video. The video production is very high quality. We spent a lot of money to produce something that was really high quality, because we wanted parents to look at it and have an emotional impact on them. We wanted them to look at the scenes and say, yes, that's me.
Yeah, and it benefits them.
And they benefit from that. And then when they identify with the parents in the scenes making these mistakes, like putting the kids in the middle, having conflict in front of the kids, then they pay attention to how to solve that problem. And then we show parents using good skills to help resolve the conflict, to move them forward in the conversation and to calm themselves down. having a high quality video makes that possible. And I think it's well worth doing because, you only get parents for a brief amount of time, 4 hours, and you really have to make an impression in that 4 hours for them to carry forward with something after they finish the program that they can use in their daily lives.
Right, right. And it obviously is even better that, you have had experience in there, you've had the education, and you developed a wonderful program to help parents. So thank you for sharing, Dr. Dawn. In our next few episodes, we will be going over some parent feedback that we've had on our programs. We'll bring Dr. Dawn back on to give his professional expertise on the subjects. Whether you are going through a divorce or separation, we do encourage you to take a look at our programs. Thank you.